5:31 p.m. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the April 27th, 2022 City of Eugene Budget Committee meeting. Thank you for joining us in this remote meeting format, which enables the Budget Committee to meet, hear from the community, and take care of business while keeping its members, staff, and the public safe. As always, I want to emphasize what a privilege it is to be able to participate in this process. I ask that everyone here tonight consider those that are unable to join us as we engage in this work. The decisions made in this committee may have the greatest impact on people who are not able to be part of the process, and I hope we can all keep that carefully in our consideration as we deliberate. I want to thank all the committee members for the hard work we're going to engage in over the coming month, and to thank staff for the extensive work that has already gone into producing the budget we're here to review tonight, and all the further work that will allow us to complete this process. So, without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn this meeting over to our city manager to present the FY23 proposed budget.
Thank you so much, Ty. You know, I always appreciate how you open these meetings. So I was just sort of taking that in again. So thank you for that. I know Vicky's going to run the slideshow. So if you want to pull that up, and then I'll just sort of like make some gesture. I want to just say a couple of things. It's really good to be here with you again. I can't believe it's already been a year. It feels like it went by really fast. And so I just want to remind you that the execs are here. They're just going to have their cameras off. So if something comes up later in the conversation, and that's pretty much, if they're not presenting, they'll always be here with cameras off, just to kind of make it easier for you to manage the queue. So that's, you can go to the next slide. So as you know, we're leaving behind our base camp theme, which seems kind of ironic because there is somebody on the exec team now that's actually climbed to base camp. So now we actually have like a real connection to the metaphor, and we've moved on to the road trip, which is a little bit more fun, I think, and would hopefully have better snacks. Yet here we are, we're meeting on Zoom. Though I will say that daily I'm hearing about some place I've been, it feels like, where somebody has COVID. So I can completely understand wanting to be really cautious. So I just want to think a little bit about where we've come. And we know we have a lot ahead of us, but I was reflecting tonight on my very first budget message to you, which in the very first amended budget to you, which I have open here, I said a couple of things that I thought were particularly relevant tonight. The one part in particular I want to land on, but it was kind of funny because I wrote about hoping you were all healthy and doing well. And then I wrote meetings by Zoom. This was May 13th, 2020. Meetings by Zoom are a little more challenging, and I know many of you are getting screen fatigue. While we'll try to keep our presentation as streamlined as possible, there's a lot of information to cover, kind of goes on and on, which seems like, wow, 2 years later, we've sort of figured it out. But then I ended with, together with you, we'll craft a final budget that enables our huge recovery. And I know some of you don't like the huge recovery, but I wanted to just bring it up because I think it's really important that before we start into the next year, we pause and just think about where we've come together. A few things that really stand out to me are a couple of things. One, that first budget committee meeting we were in where COVID was just starting to become a thing. We were in person. That was the last time we were in person. And I think how fast this organization responded in the community and internally to keep the community safe, participating in the, county-wide EOC, the work we did in fire to help staff up vaccination clinics, the incredible rapid pivot of services to keep businesses going and businesses operating, permits going, lengthening permit times, expiration times. There's just so many things we did, supporting the unhoused in unprecedented ways, and keeping staff employed through all of that, keeping them employed so we can keep services whole during a time of uncertainty. I'll just say that this committee and the exec team and all over the organization really brought a lot of stability and calm to the community, and I really appreciate that. And we've continued to accomplish a lot. And I know you get regular emails from Liz that have links to things like the State of the City video. So I won't go through all of those. We may hit a couple of them tonight, but I just think it's incredible that even though we've been in this unprecedented time, we've just gotten so much done. And I know we're weary, but we're still awesome. And so I just want to say thank you. Next slide. So we still know, and we all know, that there's challenges ahead. We're going to know more about this when Mauricio finishes his presentation. He's got a big bulk in the middle that's going to really dive into the forecast and really help us. But we know we still have pandemic. We're not out of that yet. We don't know how long that's going to last. There's all kinds of impacts associated with that financially. We have, increased costs of services. We've had increased difficulty staffing positions. So we have a lot of vacancies. We have a lot of people leaving the organization. We've had challenges with our contracts, so getting people to do work. So heard some pretty interesting stories this afternoon in the parks work session. But I think even things like getting a contractor on board to work on the alternative response study has been very, very challenging. So we know we still have a financial gap. We still have emerging needs and ambitious goals. And we have a lot of one-time funding sources that are going to expire, not at the end of this year, but end of next year. So we're starting to really see some of those big gaps ahead of us. But even still, I'll just say our recent experiences together give me a lot of confidence that we're going to continue to thrive through this and support our organization and support our community. So with that, I'm going to introduce Mauricio, who is going to dive into the finances, and then he'll bring it back to me and I will explain some of what was in the decision-making that you're seeing in the book and walk through the book just a little bit.
All right, thank you, City Manager. So good evening, everyone. My name is Mauricio Badalico. I'm a Senior Financial Analyst in the Finance Division. So in early March, I provided you with a preliminary overview of the general fund forecast. And tonight, I'm going to provide an update that incorporates changes to the forecast assumptions, given what we know today about our current economic situation. So the city has a long history of strong fiscal stewardship and service delivery to the community. Over time, we have developed a stable service system, maintained adequate reserve levels, and have remained flexible to respond to the needs of the community in a constantly changing environment. This puts us in a good position to face the challenges ahead. Next, please. So the FY23 proposed budget across all city funds is $793.7 million, which is an increase of 9.6% over the FY22 proposed budget. Some of the larger drivers of this increase include $17.8 million of new ARPA expenditures, $10.8 million of additional community safety initiative funding, and $5.75 million of state funding to support unhoused services. You'll hear more about these expenditures and others from the city manager later in the presentation. So when internal expenditures and transfers are omitted, the FY23 proposed net budget is $671.9 million. The net budget subtracts out internal expenditures and transfers that are budgeted twice, once in the paying fund and once in the receiving fund. Next. The budget for the City and Urban Renewal Agency is organized into 35 reporting funds, which fit into the categories shown here. Fund types other than the general fund are used to account for revenue sources that are legally restricted for specific purposes, or to account for operations funded by users of a service through fees and charges. The general fund is used to account for all other financial resources not required to be accounted for in one of these other fund types. Generally, when we talk about the forecast or the financial condition of the city, we are referring to the general fund. And more specifically, I'll be referring to the main subfund of the general fund, which represents the true discretionary resources of the city. Next. So the FY23 proposed budget for the general fund is $243 million, which is an increase of almost 18% over the FY22 proposed budget. Two large drivers of this increase in the general fund I mentioned previously, including $17.8 million of new ARPA expenditures and $5.75 million of state funding to support unhoused services. Excluding these expenditures, the FY23 proposed general fund budget increased by 6.2% over FY22. The net general fund FY23 budget is $229 million after removing interfund transfers of nearly $14 million. Next. The general fund forecast is a tool that projects how much the city will spend and receive over the next 6 years, which assists policymakers in developing strategies to meet future challenges. Finance staff regularly monitor and track many variables for the forecast, which are shown at a high level here. The city has been utilizing the forecast for many years to help guide us through difficult financial times, including the Great Recession. While the data used in the forecast is updated regularly, the data sources and methodologies have remained relatively consistent over time. Compared to the forecast version we reviewed in March, the main update in the current forecast that we're going to cover tonight is that it incorporates FY23 proposed ongoing and one-time investments, and the city manager will review those investments in more detail later. There are many variables impacting the forecast that can trend upward or downward. Similar to the March forecast, the FY23 proposed budget forecast includes updates to major drivers that have changed since FY22. I'll highlight a few of the key changes here, and let's start on the revenue side. Property taxes are the largest revenue source in the general fund, and our property tax projections are based on current data and updated information from the Lane County tax assessor. The good news is that the pandemic did not have as much impact on property tax revenue as the tax assessor was predicting, so we have increased our future projections. Contributions in lieu of taxes, or SILT, from eWeb is the second largest revenue source in the general fund. And our forecast aligns with eWeb's current projections, which include electric price increases over the next few years and higher weather-adjusted loads due to improving economic conditions. And this results in higher projected SILT revenue in the future. Service charges represent the third largest revenue source in the general fund. And this category includes revenue from various services such as swimming pools and other recreation facilities, the spay and neuter clinic, and police and fire services, among others. Projected future revenue has increased as we expand services at renovated facilities and pandemic restrictions are lifted. And unfortunately, the future revenue increases in property taxes, SILT, and service charges are outweighed by the loss of Comcast right-of-way revenue from internet services. You may recall from last spring that we lost a court case related to this issue, but at the time it was not clear when Comcast would stop paying. We were notified by Comcast in the fall that they would cease remitting payments after the first quarter of FY22. This results in an estimated revenue loss of $2.4 million in FY22 and then $3.2 million per year ongoing starting in FY23. So now let's move over to the expense side. Personnel costs represent the largest expense in the general fund. Ongoing worker shortages have put upward pressure on wages, impacting employers across the country. In the past year, new contracts have been ratified for our 2 fire unions and also for the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, or AFSCME for short. These new contracts have led to higher personnel costs in the FY23 proposed budget forecast compared to prior projections from FY22. Another factor contributing to increased personnel costs is that we are expecting another significant PERS rate increase in FY24, which we'll discuss in more detail later. And as we continue to hear about in the news, ongoing supply chain issues have caused higher inflation than we have seen in recent memory. The FY23 proposed budget includes a higher 5% assumed inflation rate for materials and services to reflect the increased prices we are paying for goods and services. Of this increase, 2% is ongoing, along with a one-time adjustment of 3% to mitigate current inflationary pressures. The city budgets and forecasts inflation based on projections provided by the state economist, and we'll take a closer look at those projections on a later slide. Next, please. Property taxes. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Vicki. Property taxes, SILT, and service charges are the top three revenue types in the general fund. These three revenue types account for more than 80% of general fund revenues, with property taxes representing the largest share by far at 70%. On the last slide, we talked about these revenue types and how future projections have increased compared to the FY22 forecast. But let's look at what happened over the last few years. The table on the right shows actual average growth of these revenue types over the last 3 full fiscal years. Property tax revenue has remained positive throughout the pandemic. However, the growth rate is limited to approximately 4%, and we'll take a deeper dive into this topic over the next few slides. SILT revenue is driven by the price of electricity and how much is consumed. EWEB did not have any electric price increases during this time, combined with warmer winter weather and pandemic impacts, resulting in negative SILT revenue growth for the city. And negative growth in service charges during this period can be largely attributed to pandemic-related closures and restrictions. So the bottom row of this table shows that the average growth rate across all revenue types in the general fund over the last 3 years was just 3%. Next. Let's talk a little bit more about property taxes. So property tax revenue is determined by the amount of taxable assessed property value, the tax rate, and the collection rate. Given that the general fund permanent tax rate is frozen, and the collection rate remains relatively consistent over time, increases in property tax revenue are largely attributed to increases in assessed value, which are constitutionally limited to just 3% per year for existing properties. With a constitutional limit for existing properties plus new taxable construction, the current upper limit of taxable assessed value growth in Eugene is approximately 4%. The only ways to materially exceed our current assessed value growth would be massive new taxable construction or legislative property tax reform at the state level. So this chart shows statewide real market value and assessed value trends going all the way back to 1990. The solid blue line represents real market value, and the dotted orange line represents assessed value, which began in 1997 after the passage of Measure 50. The current market trend is captured in the blue line, but our property tax revenue is limited by the lower orange line. And a rough formula is that it takes around $200 million of new taxable construction to generate $1 million of general fund revenue. And to put that amount in perspective, Valley River Center has a real market value of $119 million and is currently our second largest property taxpayer. Next. Okay. This chart shows the city's annual growth in taxable assessed value. The red dashed line on the right shows the growth rates as projected in the FY22 forecast. At the time, we had assumed a drop in the growth rate based on guidance from the tax assessor. The good news is that the taxable assessed value rate came in at 3.6% for FY22, which is higher than the 3% projection. Now that building permit and construction activity have returned to pre-pandemic levels, the FY23 proposed budget forecast has been increased to assume 4% growth per year as shown by the green dashed line. The other factor impacting property tax revenues in the forecast is the collection rate. If you look to the right of the chart, the red dashed line shows the collection rates as projected in the FY22 forecast. At the time, we had assumed a drop in the collection rate based on guidance from the tax assessor. The good news is that the actual collection rate came in at 95.8% in FY21, which was higher than the 94% projection. The FY23 proposed budget forecast has been increased to assume a collection rate of 95.5% per year as shown by the green dashed line. Now let's look at general fund expenses, where personnel is the largest category at 75% of total expenses. Similar to the revenue table we saw a few slides back, the table on the right shows actual average annual growth of general fund expenses over the last 3 full fiscal years. Personnel expenses generally grow faster than materials and services due to cost increases above typical inflation, such as healthcare and PERS. Non-departmental expenses are primarily made up of transfers out to other funds. The high growth rate of non-departmental expenses during this time frame is due to transfers out to the Community Safety Fund, to the SDC Capital Projects Fund to reimburse construction excise tax offsets, and to distress funds such as ambulance transport and parking services. The average growth rate across all expenses in the general fund over the last 3 years was 4.4%, exceeding the revenue growth rate of 3% over the same time frame. This imbalance is generally managed by drawing down reserves, which makes it difficult to add ongoing expenses or to build up reserves to weather unanticipated events. Without corrective action, the forecast projects that the same trend will continue, with expenses growing faster than revenues over the coming years. Now let's talk about PERS expenses and discuss the impact of the next major rate increase that's coming in FY24. The top half of this table shows Eugene-specific employer contribution rates as a percentage of payroll, and the bottom half shows the estimated PERS cost in the general fund and across all city funds combined. You may recall the city participated in the PERS Employer Incentive Fund back in July of 2020, and the benefit of that investment is included in these numbers. The FY24 rates shown in the table are advisory rates provided to us by the PERS actuary. The advisory rate increase is significant and will cause an estimated 24% increase in PERS costs in FY24. This will add almost $5 million in ongoing expenses to the general fund and over $9 million across all city funds. The primary reason for the FY24 increase is that the PERS board lowered the assumed investment rate of return from 7.2% to 6.9%, which causes higher employer contribution rates to make up the difference. It's important to note that the FY24 advisory rates are based on the system valuation through calendar year 2020, but our actual FY24 rates will be based on the next system valuation through the end of 2021. This is a little bit of good news because 2021 produced strong investment returns of around 20%, which should help alleviate some of the FY24 rate increase. However, we will not know the impact of the strong 2021 returns until our actual FY24 PERS rates are provided by the actuary in the fall. Beyond FY24, the city anticipates additional PERS rate increases, although at a slower rate than what we have experienced in recent times. Next. The Oregon Office of Economic Analysis issues inflation forecasts 4 times per year, and this is the most current. Inflation is expected to peak at 5.7% in FY22, before coming back down to 2.7% in FY23, and then down to the low 2% range in FY24 and beyond. The forecast would be significantly impacted if inflation continues to remain elevated. For example, an increase of just 1% annually over the inflation rates assumed in the FY23 proposed budget forecast would increase costs by an estimated $23 million over the forecast period. So now we'll look at the annual operating surplus deficit, which helps us understand if we are living within our means. I'm going to show you a few lines, one at a time, so that we can better understand the FY23 proposed budget forecast. And we'll also take a look at some alternative scenarios. So first, I'd like to point out the red dotted line near the top of the chart. This line represents a neutral position where revenues equal expenditures. Anything above the red line is a surplus, and anything below the red line is a deficit. The result of a surplus is an increase to our reserves, while a deficit reduces reserves. Next. So the solid blue line represents the FY23 proposed budget forecast, which includes the assumptions we talked about today. The current forecast also includes an estimated $10 million reduction strategy phased in incrementally over 3 years starting in FY24. While the reduction strategy is not defined at this time, it is intended to mitigate anticipated revenue shortfalls and economic uncertainty over the forecast period. The need for this reduction strategy is primarily driven by the loss of Comcast revenue and the significant PERS rate increase coming in FY24. Even though FY23 shows a projected deficit, we can manage this deficit without reductions in FY23 due to the $6.2 million addition to the reserve for revenue shortfall approved during the FY22 December supplemental budget. These extra reserves allow us to hold off reductions until FY24 when the next PERS rate increase kicks in. As a result of the ongoing $10 million reduction strategy, the surplus deficit improves to a neutral position in FY25 and then to a modest surplus position in the out years of the forecast. Next, I'm going to show a series of alternative scenarios so that we can see the impact on the surplus deficit. This dashed green line shows what the surplus deficit would look like if we did not have the Comcast revenue loss and if PERS rates did not increase throughout the forecast. In this scenario, the reduction strategy is also removed because the need for it is significantly reduced. Even without any reduction strategy, the deficit is smaller than the proposed budget in the near term and eventually becomes a surplus in the out years. Next. This next scenario layers in the ongoing loss of $3.2 million of Comcast revenue annually. This causes a deficit in all years of the forecast without any offsetting reductions. Next. The next scenario adds in the anticipated future PERS rate increases, which causes the annual deficit to grow even larger. The only difference between these two lines is that the blue line includes the $10 million reduction strategy, while the green line does not. Otherwise, the underlying assumptions are the same. And next. And this final scenario adds in $5.3 million of ongoing funding for a sampling of needs that are currently funded on a one-time basis, such as unhoused services and downtown management. This is just a subset of the need for ongoing funding for illustrative purposes to show how ongoing expenses impact the base budget. And now we're going to talk about our savings account, also known as the Reserve for Revenue Shortfall. This reserve is our financial cushion, which is a key part of our financial management. Having an adequate reserve allows us to weather unexpected events and take time to develop thoughtful, strategic responses rather than having to take immediate action to cut services. Maintaining reserves in good economic times is the key to weathering recessionary periods with minimal service disruptions. Additionally, having a sufficient reserve is a factor in our high credit rating, which translates into lower borrowing costs for the city and saves taxpayer resources over the long term. Moody's, our credit rating agency, recognizes the strong financial management of the city, including maintaining strong reserve levels, which is a key metric in their valuation. The city manager will provide some additional thoughts regarding our reserve approach and the importance of reserves on a later slide. Next. This line represents our savings account target of 8% of general fund expenditures, or about $15.2 million annually on average over the forecast period. Next. The solid blue line shows the forecasted reserve as of the FY23 proposed budget, which includes the previously mentioned $10 million ongoing reduction strategy. You can see the reserve level drop from FY23 to FY24 due to the deficit that we saw on the last few slides. The reduction strategy stabilizes the reserve at $4 million in FY24 and FY25 before making modest improvements in the out years, eventually reaching 4.2% of expenditures by the end of the forecast period. Without the ongoing reduction strategy, the reserve would be completely depleted by FY24. So let's review a few areas of uncertainty as we look to the future. Although we've heard mostly good news about the pandemic with low hospitalization rates and the expiration of mask mandates, the future is unknown. If hospitalizations start to increase, or if a new aggressive variant leads to restrictions, the city's finances could be affected. Many funds were adversely impacted by the pandemic and have not yet returned to pre-pandemic levels. Staff are closely monitoring distressed funds to evaluate if additional financial support is necessary for fund stability. And we reviewed the current inflation forecast, but there is a degree of uncertainty about when inflation will return to typical levels, particularly considering current world events. If inflation persists longer than the state economist expects, this could have a significant impact on the forecast. And it's uncertain how long the current trend of worker shortages will continue and impact personnel costs. Also, the PERS actuary is projecting that future PERS rate increases beyond FY24 will ease, but that can change depending on market returns and other factors. And as we mentioned, the FY23 proposed budget does not include ongoing funding for many services that have been funded on a one-time basis. As the organization shifts to a new strategic planning and budgeting process, we will continue to model the financial impact, to assess our situation, and remain flexible to adapt to new information, whether it has a positive or negative impact on our financial condition. And the last topic I'd like to cover tonight is a condition update for some of our other city funds. The Parking Services Fund forecast is projecting to break even at the end of the current fiscal year, with the parking garages reopening in the spring of FY22. The FY23 budget is relatively flat, with operations running at a bare minimum. Downtown workers and visitors have not yet fully returned. Campus area parking revenue is still down, and staffing continues to be a challenge. The primary revenue source in the road fund is ODOT's State Highway Trust Fund revenue. Public Works is currently waiting for an update from ODOT regarding how fuel prices are impacting revenue in the short and long term. According to the last ODOT forecast, the city is close to the state's projected revenue target. However, systematically, expenditures are outpacing revenues. And the Ambulance Transport Fund is expected to end FY22 in reasonable shape. On the plus side, the new GEMT Coordinated Care Organization billing program generated $2.3 million of revenue in FY22, and the number of transports are tracking to pre-pandemic levels. However, staffing shortages are resulting in increased overtime, and more transports for the unhoused is causing an increase in billing write-offs. And rounding it out, we were previously concerned about the Cultural Services Subfund last spring, but the good news is that it has recovered to pre-pandemic operations after receiving 2 federal shuttered venue operator grants totaling $3.8 million. Transient lodging tax has also been recovering. Earlier this year, the Holt Center set records for the most number of shows in February and March compared to any previous year. Looking ahead, FY23 will include the Holt Center's 40th anniversary and a strong Broadway season. And with that, that concludes my section, and I'll turn it back over to the city manager.
Thank you so much, Mauricio. I don't think anybody does a better job than you do. You're incredibly good. I learned something every time. So thank you for that. That last piece that you spoke about with the Cultural Services Subfund, I think is such a great example of why the fast pivot mattered so much, because a couple of things happened. Because we had those reserves, we kept people employed. We found new ways to engage people. Our audiences stayed engaged, and they were really quick to come back. So I think that investment and drawing things down to keep people going is really paying off now with the speed of how that's recovering. So I just want to mention that as a win for all of us. Next slide. So you have seen the slide before. I used it last year, and I think I may have used it the year before, because we talked about sort of overall our strategy with reserves was in any given year to have $4 million and 4% in the out years, so that if we lost our Comcast revenue, we'd always have the ability to cover that, but always trying to get to that 4%, which is really low because we really want to be hitting 8%. So I updated the slide for this year, because this year we actually have, you can click it once. This year we're going in with actually 8.7 million in our reserves and 4.2 in the out years. But what's interesting about this is that we're actually starting with the 4% reserves, and we're sort of ending with a 4% reserves, which isn't great because we are trying to get back up. And if you'll click it one more time, I just want to point out, and I know Maurizio already said that, the only way we get to that 4.2 is the journey between here and 28, which includes that $10 million reduction, at least as we're forecasting it now. So it's going to be work to get there. Next slide. Oh, now I will say, you know, if you, the forecast like on page 24 is the one that I look at for everything, because that really shows how we're calculating in the reductions. It also shows the percent at the bottom. So if you're interested in diving into that, it's on page 24. So the importance of reserves. I'll just say, you know, our credit agency, Moody's, has noted the strong financial management of the city over many, many years in previous credit reviews. They look at a range of factors in their analysis, and they've consistently noted the city's strong reserve levels, our willingness to take action when necessary, and the expectations that the city's management team will deliver a long-run structural balance featuring strong financial metrics. It's not unexpected that we would draw down reserves during a pandemic like this. That's why we have reserves. But Moody's will also be expecting that as we stabilize, that we'll be replenishing our reserve levels to provide financial stability, and that will be a priority. So failure to do that could downgrade it. That ends up costing us more in the end. And they provide, Moody's provides an annual credit review, but because we'll be issuing the remaining bond authority for the Parks bond in FY23, we'll require a formal bond rating with Moody's analysts. So we're looking to do that this year. They'll be looking to see how we're managing through this pandemic and how we're positioning ourselves for the long term as they complete their review. You can go ahead and click, because this is some of the fun quotes from Moody's. We expect them to be watching our approach to managing this time of uncertainty as we balance the use of reserves and taking appropriate budget actions in a timely manner to ensure financial stability. So it's good to see some of the quotes that they have for us over the years. And it also feels good that even as we've had to kind of ride low to that 4%, we're still considered a AA1, which is an incredibly great bond rating. Next slide. One back. Thank you. So before I start, you know, I have to just give a lot of gratitude for staff for the budget documents. Very well done. It was really easy for me, even though I've been really involved in this, to keep going back in and digging out information and details that I just can't keep all of it front and center. And you'll see that as we go through this. So it's extremely well done. And so really the purpose of my presentation is to kind of let you under the hood a little bit and explain a little bit of why we made the decisions that we did. So it's intended to be sort of a way for you to say, okay, I get that, or I don't get that. And it's also just reminding, I'm going to keep with my tradition of making this a little bit fun, maybe a little bit less traditional than your typical presentation. Next slide. So as I was thinking about the exec team's fiscal year approach, I had these like 7 things. I was like, oh, I really want to say these 7 things, but I just hate PowerPoint slides with 7 bullets. Well, it doesn't matter if you slide them in or spin them in or just have them there, you end up reading them. And so I thought, well, it'd be fun to make a playlist. And I thought, well, maybe I could make one on Spotify and edit the song names. And of course you can't do that because it's their song names. But what I did discover is that they have such a huge library of songs. You can find a song for any topic you could possibly want to talk about. So this really is sort of our approach. And I will say, I think, you know, just from what we just watched, the forecast does really call for pain, and the financial stewardship has remained with the exec team one of our core planning and decision-making pillars as a team. So we based our decisions in this budget on that sort of winter winterish forecast, because as a reminder, and I'll hit this at the end of the presentation, we're preparing and starting to build our budget starting as early as November. So we're in November, December, January, making decisions, and we don't actually know what's going to happen for sure between January when we get here. So just FYI, I think it was less bad than with some of our decisions. While it can sometimes be painful for us to make team decisions, and I know there are times when the exec team just wants me to make a decision and just like call it, we found such great success over the years in really joining together and problem solving together and making team decisions. I would think of it as more of an ecosystem approach. And I read an article recently about a musician who used two terms. It was like genius and scenius. And genius is really sort of this egocentric approach where you have one really smart person that has it all figured out. And scenius was their term for when you have a group of people that have that ecosystem. And that's the approach we have. We all have different perspectives. We all have different relationships in the community and in the organization. Our decisions reflect that collective best thinking. So we'll see where are we at here. Focusing on the future. You know, after last year's budget prep, where we were making a number of reductions, as you recall, a lot of vacancy. We were holding a lot of vacancies. We were holding a lot of contracts. And I think at the end of that, and when we got to the budget presentation, we're looking at the forecast, we just realized we can't keep doing it the way we're doing it, because holding all those vacancies, not being able to fill those contracts has had a tremendous toll on our organization, and it actually impacts the services we provide out in the community. So we really talked about we need to have a more sustainable approach going forward. So we were very consciously decided to limit this year's investments in order to give us time to sort of shift to this new budget process. And I know we talked about that, but I think, you know, focusing on the future and trying to prepare for what could be sort of a transformative time, I'm actually looking forward to it, was an important factor. The reserves lament. These songs are actually real songs, and this is the worst of the group. You know, we talk a lot about reserves, and I start to worry sometimes. It's almost like SDCs. People just start talking about SDCs, and forget that it's actually a tool that makes significant investments and employs significant people in our community. The reserves is that too. I feel like it sometimes gets taken for granted. It almost becomes a word or a mystical creature. And it's, you know, it's such an important, you know, I would think about, like, it was over the last few years, it's been a very important revenue source for us to be able to keep people employed and keep services going. So we very consciously last year, as we were coming into the supplemental budget, we very consciously left as much marginal beginning working capital on the table as we could to build up that reserve in order to give us a little bit of room over the next couple of years to do this work. Again, we're at 4%. I think our ongoing strategy should be incrementally trying to get us closer to 8%, though that may take some time to get there. Our approach also starts to make incremental steps and ambitious goals. I'm gonna talk more about the things we're actually funding and why we're doing that. And we are staying true to trying not to have too big of a response. So for example, we know we have $10 million out there in the future, but we also felt like we could go this year and take the time to really have a better engagement with the community and thinking about how we're gonna do that. So we're very measured. And then Rescue Me, which may be the best song on here, the ARPA funds and the one-time funds from the state have had a huge impact on us, and the ability for us to strategically get us through this time, help our community, stabilize our funds. After we get through this, depending on how this budget process goes, if you adopted the budget just as it is today, we'll be down to about $3.5 million left of that ARPA funds, which doesn't need to be designated until the end of next year, so calendar year 24. So we'll have a little bit left to try to deal with unanticipated needs. And we tried to keep as much of that as there possible, while also understanding we have some big needs out there and need to move forward. Next slide. I feel like this ongoing one time is the Eugene mantra. And although I did notice in this budget document, we've started to rename it. It's like we're now calling it limited duration, but it's still one time. And I think that was acknowledging that we've been doing one time for a couple of years. I've had a concern about this. The previous city manager had a concern about this, and I've been trying to, as much as possible, let's get things off that one time and onto the ongoing lane, because it's one, it's not financially stable, and two, it's really, really difficult on our staff, in particular the staff that are in those limited duration roles. A good example is our downtown ambassadors, in our downtown cultural services folks that just don't have any certainty, and they're doing such great work, and we want to keep them, and they don't have certainty, and that whole thing just is kind of exhausting for folks. Next slide. All right. So we're going to dive into some of these details. I won't go into everything, but I can pretty much go into everything in the general fund because we just did so little. So in terms of ongoing investments, you can see here, we invested less than $1 million in ongoing. And for the most part, this is what we felt like we could reasonably afford, and really falls in the sort of promises made, promises kept. So I'll start with recreation programming. So this is revenue-backed recreation programming that is associated with new facilities. So Echo Hollow Pool, Campbell Community Center, Sheldon Pool. There's a farmer's market maintenance. So we have some funds to do that support maintenance work, custodial work. Again, you know, promises made. We were opening this incredible facility in the 4th Park Block, and it's not going to be possible for the same staff to be able to cover all of that. Want to talk about the police auditor, diversity, equity, and inclusion officer. Police auditor's office thought this would be a position that they need to better reach the community and better serve, and so that's in there. We've included the climate analyst position that we've been funding with one-time dollars for the last couple of years. We've put that in as an ongoing. So I've been incrementally trying to get those one-time ones we know we're going to keep ongoing. There's some capacity building within the organization. There were just positions we really needed, and we can talk more about those if you want to. They're really well covered on page 25. And then the city council contingency. I started this, recommended this investment during supplemental budget to try to get to a place where we would have $100,000 every year for the city council to deal with emerging needs. And this, to me, really helps with a couple of things. One is a really crowded and calendar of very important items, and sometimes they need to be able to act fast on an emerging need. So a good example would be, well, the most recent example was funds that they decided to use to support humanitarian aid in the Ukraine. So that's a really good one. And I think going forward, it could be for any numbers of things and gives some flexibility through the year without necessarily having to have a long work session. I think that's it. You can go to the next slide. Although, you know, Vicki, if I miss something huge, you could be like, stop, we're on a road trip. We can always stop. So when we turn to one time, again, we actually have pretty limited investment here. It's $7 million. And the biggest bulk of that is at the bottom of the list is the $5 million funding that we got from the state for our homeless response and working with the unhoused. So that's the biggest piece. I'll go back up to the top. Downtown management, this should be a familiar, the two top ones should be very familiar items. We're trying to figure out how to kind of piece together another year of our downtown ambassadors, our events and programming, physical improvements to reduce crime, internal and external communications, and our, you know, all of the events, thriving arts. So that's as much as we felt like we could do, and we actually trimmed it a little bit to get to that. The 125 is the HSC we've been doing every year. So that's the 75,000 for the subcontractor costs and the offset CDBG gap that we talked about last year. Again, these were things that would come up as motions at the budget committee, and I've built them in, although I've built it in one time. The police auditor office backfill is some additional staffing that's needed, partly because of the interim nature of the interim and the deputy being vacant for so long. Leah felt that she needed a little bit of additional support and staffing, so we've included that. The riverfront project support, this is revenue backed by the Urban Renewal Agency. This is in order to allow us to continue doing work on all of the work in there. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what's happening at the downtown, but that's a little bit of delay from COVID, so we're needing to expand that for another couple of years. The Midtown Art Center SDC repayment, this was an agreement. We've done this on another project as well, but this is a 10-year repayment from property taxes for the SDC initial investment. So you'll see that in there. There's $400,000 in state mandated planning work. This is a little bit new, but this is a mandate that's going to require us to make code and plan amendments to support reductions in greenhouse gas pollution and vehicle miles traveled. It also requires adoption of a new housing capacity analysis and housing production strategy. We'll use limited duration staff and consultant assistants to help us with this work. There's also some funding in here for the growth monitoring program, including some software licensing. Again, I want to say this is probably half of what is needed for this work. So this gets us started, but it does not get us all the way there. And again, I use the yellow thing because again, these one-time dollars, these are things we felt like the execs were like, okay, we have to do this work, so we have to fund it. But it makes me nervous every time we're continuing to do this one time and not getting it into the ongoing. Next slide. Non-general fund. So we have, a lot of funds that aren't general fund. We don't typically talk about them as much, but we are trying to gain as much momentum where we can. And so some of these funds have the ability with revenues to continue to move services forward. And for example, the biggest of those is the Community Safety Initiative. And I have a slide on that in a little bit, so I won't talk about that, but we also have some funds in here. So of the state funded, they funded $5.75 million, and about 600,000 of that is going to services that aren't in the general fund. So it includes the parks levy, road fund, stormwater. So that's in here. Again, programming expansion that's related to the facility expansions. Some of that goes in again to the Parks and Rec levy and into facilities fund. So it goes into non-general funds. Our corporate software system support. We talked about our shift to our corporate software systems, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. That has become something that we've realized we need to create an internal revenue fund for in order to keep that going and support that work. So this shifts some funds into that and creates this revenue system. We have a lot of work happening and that we're getting prepared to have happen with the infrastructure bill. So there's a number of positions in here for public works, for capital projects. There's also some positions that are working in urban forestry and in our green infrastructure program, which is all the water swales and things you see around town. Let's see, what else? You can move on. Again, all of this is really well detailed. This one's actually on page 30. All right, ARPA investments, page 37. A lot of great stuff there. So we're expecting our second tranche of funds in May of this year. Haven't received it yet. And we are continuing. So I guess I'll just go in. The biggest chunk of that is continuing the strategies that we've been using to serve our own house. So I think there's just over $8 million in there, which means that over the last 2 years, I think that's about $17 million. I think maybe it's 15, it's somewhere in there that has gone to that. And again, this is an area of like major concern for me because as you know, when we finish this fiscal year, there's only $3.5 million of ARPA funds left. And if you put it all to unhoused support, we wouldn't, wow, that was intense. Wouldn't have enough. I should not talk with my hands during a budget meeting. We also are funding, as you might recall, we agreed to fund back the fire station 2 and the ALS unit. So those are both in there.
I'm gonna move your microphone back, Sarah.
Thank you. I didn't know that I did that. It was so extreme. So yeah, so funding for Fire Station 2 and for the ALS unit, what we are putting some funds in for a couple of things that if we weren't doing it out of ARPA, there's two things happening. We've drawn reserves down so far on a couple of our funds. They can't afford to do the maintenance that they would have otherwise paid for. So in order to fix that, we would have to pay for it out of reserves, but it's ARPA eligible because it is related to the fund drawdown. So that is a number of facility repairs, and those are really well outlined, a number of roof repairs, things that have to happen. We're also replacing, updating our body worn cameras and our in-car video systems. There's a 1.6 million in there, and that would actually, that's only half. So we're still looking for the other half. And I have this, lingering concern of how we're going to save that, or we'll be back looking at this. So a lot of other funds in there. So we have some funds in there to continue with our information technology and ways we can continue to respond to the pandemic. There's some funding in there to support the housing implementation pipeline work. There's funds in there. So the alternative response study, we funded the study during the supplemental budget, and we've included some implementation dollars here, not knowing whether at the time, whether we'd have the study on the way enough that we might need some of those funds, or if the study wasn't done, that we have some room here to address some of the issues that may come up in the meantime. So there's 175,000 in there for that. A lot of network security, technological infrastructure. This is a growing area of concern. I'm sure you all share that, even in your own homes, concern around cybersecurity, and we're patching together. Well, that's not the right term, because that would sound like we are patching together a system. We're trying to put together funds from many different sources, because this is a pretty significant investment that needs to be made. And there's a couple of other smaller items. And then earlier today, we talked about at the Parks and Open Space levy and bond update, we also have $3 million in support to some of our parks that are on our park bond list. So we recognize that part of what happened with the pandemic is prices went up, things got more expensive, and it was impacting our ability to deliver the parks that we felt like we had been promising with the community. And so we wanted to, and we have planned to invest $3 million towards a handful of parks. So it's Martin Luther King. These are the ones that we're kind of planning: Martin Luther King, Maddie Reynolds, Train Song, Scobert, the West Bank Path, and Stryker Field. So those, I was going to play around and be like, there's one more and I can't remember, but I decided just to say it's Stryker Field. Next slide. The Community Safety Initiative. So we are now up to $21.5 million in the Community Safety Initiative. This budget has about $10.8 million in it, and that is bringing forward, so the 3.3 that we allocated during the supplemental budget is built in as ongoing. So that's the same. So the strategies we already talked about with community service officers, some of our early intervention with youth, all those things. And then includes another $10 million, another $7 million in new services that the chief will be here. I think it's on May 11th, or somebody will be talking about the CSI and what's in that. But it continues to fund a lot of services to our unhoused community and social services. It increases funding for our municipal court, city prosecutor's office, and it adds strategies for defendant fitness evaluations, mental health court, and restorative justice. It also expands funding and staff for police services, including the community service officers, patrol officers, the downtown team, and operations support. It also includes funding for an alternative response for EMS delivery and CAHOOTS expansion. So again, that we'll be back in a couple weeks to give more detail on that. Next slide. Similar unhoused service investments will also be back in a couple of weeks, because we know we're gonna wanna dive into this. This budget starts to put together funding sources from across the organization to get to that 15.7 million. It's drawing from the general fund. So that 15.7 represents the general fund, the Community Safety Initiative, CARES Act funding through CDBG, the American Rescue Plan Act, and funding from the state. So About 3.1 of that is going to homeless services, 8.9 to safe sleep sites, 1.6 to parking enforcement and neighborhood service officers. And then we have about $1.5 million in right-of-way and park camp cleanup. And I can tell you, after going on a ride-along over spring break, it's especially as you get to the cleanup, it's not enough. We're sort of overrun with illegal dumping and cleanup in the right-of-way. Next slide. And I can't remember, Vicki, whether there's going to be a presentation on urban renewal, but I want to say just a couple of things about some of the projects that are going on there. So both the downtown and the riverfront urban renewal districts have continued to do great work through the pandemic. So downtown, I think everyone's getting really excited about the farmers market, Pavilion, and Plaza. It's nearly complete. It's a permanent sheltered location for Lane County Farmers Market and other events. It's going to do a lot more than simply meet the farmers market minimum needs. It's going to provide a combination of indoor and outdoor space, new restrooms, food preparation areas, and the opportunity to attract vendors and customers year round. So this will be a pavilion and plaza that serves the entire community. And as somebody that was in some of the really early negotiations with the farmers and Saturday market around how could they expand and where they could expand, this feels really, really significant and such an important connection between our urban and rural neighbors and such a great food economy that we have. The 1059 Willamette, that's the old LCC site. That project is moving along as well. We selected a development team. Council approved the deal points. It's underway. That is going to be a pretty interesting mixed use housing project that will have at least 51% of the units affordable to individuals that are at 80% or lower of the area median income. When you move to the riverfront district, I'm not going to say a ton about it, except that because we've talked about downtown district and the park a lot, I will say work is continuing, including we just recently sold parcels to the development team, Atkins Dame Redevelopment, which is going to include housing and at least 75 units made available for households with incomes at or below 60% of the area median income. We expect those to be developed between 2022 and 2025. Park's going to open this spring. And I want to just highlight that during the World Championships, we'll be hosting the Eugene Riverfront Festival at this park. It's a 10-day festival that's going to be a celebration of the whole community. Very multicultural in nature. It's going to have an intimate viewing party. Hopefully that's still going forward with a live stream of the event. I just want to say, this is part of our promise to the community that when this World Championships came, that the entire community would be able to experience this. And so we're hosting it. It's free to everybody, and it will be one of the only places that people of any income level can watch the events and experience kind of just the excitement of something like an Olympics type event, World Champs. Let's see what else. And we're going to start, as soon as we're kind of done with the park, we're going to start moving on with the plaza, which kind of will be an exciting second phase of this project. And then lastly, on the steam plant, we did approve terms, deal terms with a team for the steam plant as well. They're planning a vibrant mixed use center that includes restaurant, art, performance, office space, anchored by an independent hotel. So they're using the Urban Renewal Agency approved $1.5 million of urban renewal funds for asbestos abatement, systems development charge, permit fees to support the project. There's still a gap, and the development team is working to find ways to fill that gap. But this is something that from the very beginning, I've said this is sort of like our Space Needle. If you think about the World Championships being kind of like that World Fair, if we can find a way to keep this incredible piece of architecture in our community, it'll be amazing. So I'm pretty excited about that. Next slide. All right, this is like a pause. I'm not quite done. I have a couple more slides, but thought I just pause here for a moment because you've gotten a lot of information tonight. And this is sort of, for me, it just sort of was a good reminder of why we're all here. This slide is kind of an incredible representation of Eugene for so many reasons. There's so many things right here. The river, our parks are, to include the community garden at Skinner Butte, the Rose Garden, since this picture was taken, we now have a rest stop right there by the garden. It shows our bike path system. It shows the infrastructure, all the things that are going to need to be improved over time. It shows, West Eugene. We've had a lot of focus on West Eugene and the impacts and really trying to serve those folks out there. I was going to say Valley River was our largest taxpayer because this is the first time I've heard they're our second largest taxpayer, but I see that as a potential risk, and that it's, especially during the pandemic, I was a little worried about what's going to happen, but it's also an incredible opportunity for potential redevelopment that maintains that and also creates new and exciting possibilities. So who knows what's going to happen with that site over time, but we know something will happen. And by the way, I did look it up. Verizon is our largest taxpayer now, which surprised me. Next slide. We're almost there. So with the ongoing, I would just say with the ongoing pandemic and meeting virtually and the forecast that Mauricio shows, I think, when you're on a road trip and your person says, you're at the end of the road, which is kind of always makes me laugh. It probably sometimes feels like that, but I just want to point out we're not at a dead end. We still have a lot of opportunity ahead of us, and you can shift to the next slide. You've seen this graphic before, although it looked a little bit different, but I really do think I want to reframe kind of where we're at, because when I first showed this slide to you, I talked about like how important it is to get into a rhythm where we are engaging with the community, understanding what the needs are, setting priorities, building our budget, implementing the budget, getting feedback, doing that, and getting into that rhythm. It is really, I think, key to our future. And I'll just say that we spend a lot of time. In fact, I think I can actually, I'm going to see if I can do this. I think I can annotate and use my mouse. Can you see my mouse moving? Nope. Okay. We spend a lot of time in sort of the top, of this budget, the top right of this budget process. We spend a lot of time here. So like if we start with the plan to adopt, that's, if you think about it, it's most of the year, and we end up not really spending as much time in that bottom left quadrant, which is really where we're starting to, like, we haven't done a community survey in years. We're kind of ramping up to do that. Council has, recently set goals, but it's been a while since they've done it sort of really in sync with that survey. So we end up, bringing in information from other places. All of us, or all of the execs, listen to council meetings where we do lots of different surveys through different departments on different services. So we have a pretty good understanding of a lot of where the community's at, and we build that in, but it would be really great to all be using those same sets of resources. And I don't think, people, I'll just say this, I don't think people always know when they're doing those other sort of outreaches that that's feeding into a budget decision. And so being really clear and transparent in that engagement, that this may actually change the way we move forward in the future. I think that's a really exciting time. And that's really what we're hoping to do with the priority-based budget process. Next slide. And I know people like the name is not catchy and I always want to rename it, but that is what it is, the priority-based budget process. And it really is about engaging folks, being very clear about what services we're providing, what they cost, being really clear about where people's feedback is going to show up in the budget, and then providing choices for us and for you that help guide us into the future. We're going to need to do that over the next couple of years. And our goal today with our proposed budget was to try to make as little, to try to give you as much breathing room and ability to do that over the next couple of years by not loading too much up this year. So with that, I think we're down to our last slide, and I'm probably ready to turn it back over to you, Chair. Last slide. Wow, you missed the last slide. There was one really good last slide. You got to pull it back up, Vicki.
Got to see that slide.
Yeah, I mean, the whole slide was like the perfect slide because I know it's how you're feeling. See? Dogs on road trips. All right. Hopefully you're able to take all that in, and I look forward to your discussion.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That was a lot to take in. I'm glad I get to be last in the queue, privilege of the chair. We are going to just dive right into a round robin discussion of that now, if that works. Councilor Evans, did you have something outside the scope of a round robin that you needed to say now?
No, not right at this time. I just was hoping to hop ahead of the line.
All right, I can bump you up to the top if you want, if you have a time-sensitive reason.
Well, no, I don't have a time-sensitive issue. I'm just a little bit anxious when we start talking about the urban renewal district, and particularly when we're talking about how we're going to end up ultimately funding the gap that is there between the development group and what the costs are to close that gap, so that we're not hanging out there with a steam plant that is undeveloped or on hold because we don't have the resources to finish the job.
All right.
Yeah, I would like to know a more firm number than, you know, we've got some gaps. I would like to know if there's, you know, I've heard a couple of numbers, I've read a couple of numbers in the $9 million range, but that's all depending on what is needed from the developer to complete the project, and what kind of more public investment are we looking at putting in there or not.
Are you wanting us to answer this question now, or are you,
well,
Chair? Are you gonna?
Yeah, I was kind of wanting to get some firm numbers around what it is that we're going to be looking at, because I'm not sure, or you may have more information than what we do about the viability of the developer being able to complete the project with some additional help from the city, or maybe not any help from the city.
I'll just kind of make a quick comment on that, and then I can follow up with you more one-on-one as well. I think we were predicting that they were going to have up to a $5 million gap, and I may have that wrong, but that's kind of what we were predicting when we came and brought the initial presentation to council. When that happened, the motion that passed at council approved the $1.5 million, but actually put some language in there about that was sort of it for the city support. So if the council wants to support that project, there would have to be some shift to that, or a new motion, and we can talk about that later. But I think it's about a $5 million gap.
Okay, yeah, that was what I was looking for, is to kind of have a ballpark figure of what the gap was.
All right, thank you very much. So we're going to go to Eliza Kaczynski, followed by Councilor Ye for questions and comments on the proposed budget. Eliza?
I guess not because I have to go first. So first, I want to say thank you. Looking at this budget, it was really clear to me that this was intended to be kind of a status quo budget, to give some space to have some really discussions that we're going to have. And I appreciated the sort of thought that went in to making sure that some of the things that, if we didn't continue their ongoing funding now, would result in cuts, made their way into that. I feel like over the next few weeks we have a lot of more detailed discussions, so I'll just ask two questions. one a very detailed one and one a sort of bigger picture one. I noticed for some of the new positions that did in central services that they were listed as being free. I guess they had no budgetary impact. But the cost for this position would be absorbed into the existing central services general fund budget. What does that mean?
Mia, if you're there, you could answer that.
I'm here. Thank you for the question. Mia Carriaga, Central Services Director. So because we were trying to hold steady, we also had an immediate need for some support to these services. And so we are adding positions, but not asking for additional budget authority.
Okay, so it's being bounced out by, for example, spending less money on pens or other things budget that are maybe not as necessary at the moment.
Yes, we'll underspend in other areas to achieve that.
Okay. And then the bigger picture question, that 10 million reduction in numbers is fairly scary. And I know one of the elements of the priorities budget was thinking about like sort of different ways to kind of address those kinds of numbers. They're also going to be part of these conversations being about revenue. I know that council is having some work sessions with follow-ups to be determined with their timing. But I also know, you know, we're looking at the law revenue source with Comcast and just talking cuts, or are we talking other ways to fill that gap?
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be a mix of things because I think it'll be a mix, and that's part of the reason why we felt like we needed to shift the approach, because we're sort of heading down a cut path as opposed to like, how do we look at this a little bit differently and think about, you know, things that maybe we could do differently or partner differently. So I think it's going to have to be a mix of both.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ye, and then we'll have Ryan Konofsky.
Thanks, Chair. Well, thanks for the presentation. There's a lot to think about, so I don't have questions tonight specifically, but just thank you for all the information.
Thank you, Ryan, and then we'll have Councillor Semple.
Perfect, thank you. So I had a question about the kind of looking at our projects and then looking at both the state of the job market and inflation. I've heard some municipalities are facing higher than expected costs of current projects. Is that impacting our budgeting right now or in forecasting, or have we seen that already factored it in, or is it just a hope it's not coming?
Yeah, I mean, it's here. In fact, there was a story told earlier today that some of the contractors, suppliers won't even give them a price on the supplies until they actually deliver it because they're so uncertain about what the cost is going to be. So it's very volatile. But the couple of things we built in this time is we did build in a 3% increase for this year, and we did build in some funds in ARPA to try to help cover that when it came to some of our parks. I don't know, we've had really mixed, I think, results on our street constructions, and I'd have to have our public works director weigh in on how he's seen those impacts, but I think it's sort of case by case.
Perfect, thank you. And then do we know if any kind of arrears or any impacting with folks that have been impacted by COVID with paying their e-web bills, is that impacting our SILT revenues at all? Or do we know?
I'm gonna see if Twyla or Vicky.
Maurizio usually is the one that checks in with them. Maurizio, are you still with us? Yes. Do you have any thoughts?
Are you still with us? I hope he's still with us.
I thought maybe he went home.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Yeah, so eWeb sends us a SILT payment once a month, and it comes with a statement. And usually if there's something sort of out of the ordinary or unusual or something significant, they let me know. They have not, I have not been told that that has caused any significant impact to our SIL revenue.
Perfect. And I think that's all the questions I have for now, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. After Councilor Semple, we'll have Raina Jackson.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, City Manager. I really can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm actually enjoying this year's proposed budget. I find the narrative parts really helpful, and I need those parts. I like numbers, but the budget, you know, it's the narrative and the graphs I think are really great. I think it's a careful and really well considered budget. Times are tight and they're pretty scary, and we have a lot of needs. We're not a wealthy city. So I think it's really good. I'm of course grateful that downtown is supported because it really needs it. And I'm looking forward to our further discussion, but I'm feeling pretty confident. I got a bucket seat and my shoulder harness is not bothering any part of my body. And I can reach the snacks. I'm good.
Thank you. Raina, and then we'll have Councilor Zelenka.
Yeah, I just had one question, and I understand the information given about the property tax revenue and Valley River being to Verizon #1. You know, as a citizen, I'm seeing all this construction, and I'm always curious about what that impact in those property taxes will do for the city. And I know outside of the U of O, there's lots of construction, you know, happening. So it doesn't have to be addressed in this one, but I would definitely like some information about how the development that is going on will impact the budget in future years. A little bit more detail.
Sure, I can comment some extra now. We'll see if that is what you're looking for. So, like I mentioned earlier, it takes $200 million of construction to get $1 million of general fund revenue, and that's massive. Because that's the real market value, and then what they pay taxes on is a lower reduced value. So we typically don't look at, say, one building at a time unless it's something huge. Now that's different. Our urban renewal districts also get property tax revenue. And because their property tax revenue is a lot smaller, one big new building in an urban renewal district can have a significant impact. But as a citywide level, generally, we just make an assumption. We look at building permit data, and we sort of see what's happening with building permit data. And we make an estimate based on what we've seen with building permit data about what we think we're going to see. And typically, it's about, we get our basic 3% from existing properties, and then we get about 1% for construction. And we certainly can get more than that. We take a look at building permit data regularly, and if we see a big boom, but you're right, the key word is that it has to be taxable. When it's construction by a school district or the University of Oregon or even the city, none of that is taxable. So sometimes it may seem there's a lot of construction going on, but that doesn't always help our property taxes. So yes, we don't typically get to a specific building by building sort of look at it. We just assume that extra 1% of construction, which gives us 4% of increase in taxable value by year. But certainly if the next time we look at building permit data that shows something different, we can certainly adjust accordingly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Zelenka, and then Councilor Groves.
Thank you. This is my 26th budget that I've gone through. And I have to say, Sarah, that this was the easiest to understand, the clearest, the most relevant, and the best information, and cool graphics, and most fun presentation for a city manager. So bravo. Wow.
Thank you.
I think it was really well done. I stayed awake through the entire thing. So good job. I don't have any questions at this point.
Thank you. Councilor Groves will be followed by Siobhan Kuntzel.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, City Manager. And I want to second what Alan was saying. I've been through my share of budgets as well, and I just found this a lot easier to digest than some of the ones that we've seen in the past. I also share your concern about ongoing costs for one-time funding. At the same time, I also know that sometimes how we start programs and services that we need or augment programs and services that we need. One specific question I would like to ask, I'm not clear on exactly what is being added in the way of neighborhood services officers. And I know there's some changes on that, but as you and I've talked in the past, Sarah, this is something that I'm very interested in. I think they've had a remarkable effect in West Eugene with some of the challenges that we faced out there. I've liked the way they've approached some of our challenges. I certainly appreciate police and parking enforcement, but it seems like the neighborhood services officers kind of go to a new level in the way they interact with people and residents alike, which are people too, of course. But it just seems like it's a much better system for certain types of call loads. So can you address that a little bit, please?
I see that Matt lit up, so maybe he can. And we're also having a work session on this more specifically.
We have 4 neighborhood service officers. This next budget doubles that to 8. And part of how we came up with that number is our parking services team looking at, you know, the great work that those 4 folks have done out in our community to help implement the parking plan that council asked us to do, but also trying to expand the services they provide so they're really able to deal with the entire right-of-way and potentially even neighborhood parks. So we have one team that really is the lead for all of that work, and then we can support it, you know, with other areas of public works and planning.
Thank you. That helps. I thought that was the number, but I just wasn't able to ascertain that in the document. So that's, I'll tell you, like I said, I think they fill a niche that we were kind of missing before. It just seems like a better way to approach some of the challenges that we face. Also, I'm happy to see that GEMT is finally producing more of what I think we thought it was going to produce in our early projections. I don't know if Chief Cochran has any comments on that have the determinants changed that the state allows us to bill for, or is that just sheer volume?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for the question. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Can you hear me, Counselor? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's just the volume of the calls, and then it also has to do with basically how the money came into the system. It kind of comes in small increments at the beginning and then really starts to cascade into larger volumes of money as time goes on. So we're now reaching the point of, I think, probably about the 3rd year that we've been receiving money for this, and the volume is starting to increase based on just how the money was coming into the system and how it was planned to come into the system. But the $2+ million is a great amount of money for the city, and we appreciate that.
Excellent. I know that we were challenged a number of years ago by the prior city manager to help come up with some solutions for the ambulance funding gap, and this was one of the big ones. So I'm glad to see it's performing, and thank you very much, Sarah and staff, for putting that back into the ambulance transport system where I think it really belongs. That's all I have at this point. I'm interested to hear what others have to say.
Thank you. Siobhan, we followed by John Jasper.
Thank you very much. I too would like to echo what everyone's been saying about the presentation. As I was struggling to read this 300-page document, it's a lot. And so it was very nice to have a presentation that made it a little bit more easier to digest. I also want to say that I'm very thankful for the link to the online version. I've been able to send that out to many people who've had questions about our budget and where our funding goes. And it stemmed some conversations about stuff like the CSI and the youth empowerment and worlds. My question, I guess, if I have a question, I have two. I would like to know more about the corporate software system support. And then I would also like to know more about that 60% median income affordable housing, because that's new. Usually it's at 80. So I don't know if this is the proper place to bring that up, but if someone could send me some more information on those things, I would really appreciate it.
I was trying to unmute. I'll leave that if Mia wants to answer the corporate software, or Denny, you want to talk about the 60%. Either one of you can do that now, or you can follow up.
I can jump in really quick on the affordable housing. Denny Bro, Planning and Development Director. We have kind of a wide range of affordable housing projects at different income levels. So when we participate, we usually go in with a target. Could be 80% median income, could be 60%. Some projects could go as low as 40%. So we kind of cover the full spectrum of affordability in our affordable housing programs.
Can I ask a follow-up question, Denny?
Sure.
So where would, I'm not remembering at the moment. Can you remind me where this housing will be?
Well, the affordable housing is spread out all over the city. We have a lot of projects in the queue right now, which is great news. I think if you're referring to the project 1059 Willamette, it's the old LCC building downtown.
I think it's the downtown. It's the riverfront.
The riverfront. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's the riverfront. We have reserved a piece of property. It's along 4th Street near the EWEB admin building. Part of the property we purchased from EWEB. We're reserving a parcel specifically that we won't sell to the current developer, Atkins and Dame. We'll retain that, and we'll work with our local affordable housing providers to transfer ownership of that to assure that affordable housing gets built.
Thank you.
And thank you for the question about the corporate software support. So that is actually a general fund reduction in our finance division. And finance used to contribute to our central business software each year. We have since established a rate model that charges all of the non-general funds to help contribute to the cost of that central business software. And so finance no longer needs to make the contribution. So we've reduced the finance budget by $240,000.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. John will be followed by Catherine Ryan.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all the information and work that went into this and the presentation. I do not have any questions at this time.
Thank you. Catherine, followed by Councilor Syret.
Thank you, Ty. I'm trying to remember in these moments to like take a step back from my type A, like, what about this and what about this stuff? And like, also say thank you and kind of think about the big picture for a second, because it's hard for me to do that sometimes. It's so fascinating because I'm finding myself kind of like, I feel really appreciative of this very like middle of the road kind of approach, and like feeling like that totally makes sense. There's part of me that I started thinking about this weird dynamic we're in, where we have these very large volume of one-time funds that we have to use on like a fairly short timeline. And then like, it's almost like, it feels sort of like a COVID funding cliff that we're gonna like fall off at the end in like a couple years. And so I appreciate sort of trying to think about like, how do we at that point, instead of like falling off a cliff and having to just kind of like pull back a ton of stuff, thinking now about like, what does that look like? What are the conversations we can be having around, you know, like potential revenue sources to backfill, just like thinking about it now. So it's not a like an oh no moment when it happens. I wanted to double check. I think I remember that in the last couple years, there was some sort of like general like overall reduction strategies that happened, that were those through the 23 fiscal year? Okay. And then, so then we're looking at it starting in 24 is kind of that 10 million out from there would be starting there. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. That is helpful just to think about kind of context stuff. I have sort of a number of like sort of nitty gritty type questions that I think are in the topics that are going to be covered next week. And so what I may do is write those up and send them over between now and then they can either get covered at the meeting or kind of written sometime in between. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Surratt, followed by Councilor Clark.
Thank you, Chair. Sarah, I loved your presentation. I thought it was awesome. I also appreciate the strategy that you're proposing here in terms of kind of status quo with added things around American Rescue Act plan funds and other one-time funding that we've received. So I definitely support the approach that you're taking here. And I appreciated the budget document diving into some of the non-general fund things like the community safety initiative. I was really pleased to look down that table and see we're really increasing our investment in community court, mental health court, our 15th night youth homelessness services, restorative justice, as well as the Cahoots expansion and our rest stops. And I'm also glad to see we've got a significant increase in our investment in patrol officers, community safety officers, and other public safety functions, because that is what we promised the community when we put this tax into place. And I also really appreciate your thoughtful use of the ARP funds, as evidenced by helping out those projects that have unanticipated increased costs because of current inflation pressures and helping to cover some of those. So I just wanted to call those things out. I don't have any questions tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Councilor Clark.
Thank you, Chair. I want to say this is my 19th city budget process, and I echo both Alan and Claire and others' comments. Sarah, I think this is maybe the best summary presentation I've ever seen, with both regard to clarity and content. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't think I've ever heard Sarah talk that fast for that long and fill it with so much stuff. That part kind of freaked me out a little bit, but exceptional work. I echo your praise for Mauricio's presentation. I thought his too was exceptional with regard to the massive amount of content in there. I don't have to watch these, another time on YouTube just to make sure I get all of this stuff. I do want to say though that Mauricio mentioned that there was only two ways, major ways, to substantially increase revenues, and there is a third. We haven't talked about it for a few years, and I'm hoping, because I think this is the perfect time to do it, and that's to increase, not to increase rates, but to increase the number of taxpayers. If it's time, and I firmly think it is, that we talk again about inviting in the best possible way the 22,000 people that live in River Road and Santa Clara to voluntarily annex themselves into the city, we have an opportunity for long-term revenue increase that doesn't exist as it is today. So I think that's a wise thing for us to talk about as we go along. I will say there are two motions already that I know I am going to make. I'll just say it out front, just for fair warning. One of them has to do with a park, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. Oh yeah, Stryker Field. That was for you, Sarah. we spoke earlier today a lot, and there have been a lot of comments made about promises made and promises kept. And I will tell you that there are an awful lot of folks in North Eugene that think the promise will be kept when Stryker Field is completely done. So not just phase one, but the phasing discussion happened after the bond discussion. And so there are a lot of folks that think that that promise was absolutely not kept. And I'm one of them. So that will be a discussion for later. The other one is, and I don't know the numbers yet, but I'll want to have a comparison piece that makes sure that we are looking at the fulfillment of House Bill 2003 appropriately, and that we do both a housing sufficiency look and land sufficiency look. So that will be my other motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And then there was me. I want to thank Councillor Clark for sharing motions that he plans to make, and encourage anyone else that, as you realize that you have a motion that you expect to bring forward, if you are willing to share it with us. It's of course not mandatory, but it always helps make the process go smoother, and I think makes it easier for us to have an effective debate when the time comes. So I'd encourage as much telegraphing of any motions as possible by anyone who hopes to make one. As for the budget, I definitely want to say thank you very much for the excellent presentation. I want to second and third and fourth, and however everyone else has said how excellent it was. I saw it in chat, Councillor Groves just also highlighted Mauricio's work, and I want to echo that too. It really was an excellent presentation and extremely helpful. One thing in the budget that I particularly just appreciate was the inclusion of the Human Services Commission funding, since that's something that we've had motions on now 2 years in a row, and had it not been in the budget, I'm sure we would have again. I really appreciate that recognition of previous conversations we've had that's shown by proactively including that rather than leaving us to have that debate again. And on that same front, several of the conversations we had last fall, I'm seeing a lot of details and things we talked about there reflected in the budget here of how CSI funds and such are being used, and the ARPA as well. So I really appreciate seeing that direct impact on the budget at proposal from prior conversations. And I'm really glad we're able to talk in the fall now before budget processes begin, and rather than having to suddenly scramble and when we see a proposal to throw in things we hadn't talked about before. So I really appreciate all that, and it looks great. I am nervous, like everyone, about the $10 million revenue reduction. It's certainly necessary. I agree with the strategy, but that's a big reduction. So I'm concerned that it has to happen and nervous about what that's going to look like, but I agree that's where we are. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Ty, before you jump forward, you missed Councillor Keating. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't.
Okay. I thought you were going last. Okay.
He had been, but he let me know he's unavailable to comment right now. He's in transit and listening in. But thank you for double checking. I do appreciate that. So it seems like no one went to the full 3 minutes. I'll give a brief moment if anyone wants to jump in for a second round to raise hands. But I am seeing none. So I think there was a lot to reflect on. Is there?
Ty, I have a question.
There is one hand. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
I mean, since we do have a little bit more time, I do want to ask the question. Please forgive my ignorance. I come from the corporate side, and we all have this giant event coming here, Worlds, and it's not really mentioned as generating any income for the city. And so I'm just kind of curious, like, how does that work?
That is, I just appreciate your bringing that up. Well, it's a private event that is being held at the University of Oregon. So they're leasing that site from the University of Oregon. And to the extent that they buy services from us, so like, for example, if they need to contract with us for something, it could generate some revenue, but it's offset by those costs. So it's really more of a, we tend to invest in it, you know, because we end up having to do kind of in-kind services around transportation, parking, this festival, lots of different things like that. And the like main revenue source that comes in is to our economy. So it's the local businesses, restaurants, hotels. We do gain some transient room tax from those hotel nights. So there is some, but it's more of, you know, how do you have a town that can attract those kinds of events for, you know, just sort of the town vibe, and also for supporting all those businesses that depend on that tourist activity.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Clark?
Yeah, I just did want to say that as someone who spends his day and his real job hours in the financial services sector, based on what the city is projecting, it's my personal feeling that we'll see a much larger inflation number over time, and that I see a very, very strong indication that we're heading into recession. Some people think it's a mild one. Some people think it will be a significant one. I think we'll be entering one soon. And so I would urge manager to factor those two items into planning, and or come up with alternatives that leave for the possibility that those take place. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you for that excellent presentation and discussion. We have just a little bit of housekeeping left. Minutes were sent out for the March 9th meeting. So did everyone have a chance to see those? And does anyone have any recommended changes or comments? And Catherine?
I wanted to comment on my previous comment that is reflected in the minutes, and just appreciate the little bit more detail that was in there this time. I know it's tricky and it's more work, but it was helpful for me in reading back to kind of remember some of the conversations we had. So thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I move to approve the March 9th Budget Committee meeting minutes.
I have a motion from Eliza.
Second.
Second from Councillor Ye. All in favor? I am seeing 14 hands, which with, I believe, is everyone that is actively able to vote right now. But double checking, did we have any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, that's what I thought. 14-0, that motion carries. And that brings us to wrap up. So this was a lot of information. We have 2 weeks to digest it. Our next meeting will be coming up on May 11th. That one will be longer, and we will build a break into the schedule on that one instead of powering through. The extra length will give us the opportunity to include public comment, and we'll also have opportunities for deliberation. And I believe we're having a presentation on the housing implementation pipeline, safe sleep sites, and the community safety initiative. I see hands from our city manager and from Councillor Zelenka.
Mine's quick. I think on the agenda, it says that the third meeting is on the 27th. I think that's the 25th. That would be a Wednesday of May.
Yes, thank you for noticing that.
I'll be quick too. So I wanted to just recognize I've heard several times that there's been a lot of information, and just so you guys know, I still have to go in and like tab my book and read it several times too, and I'm right in the center of it. So I want to remind everyone that you have a budget buddy. So all the execs are here. They've also all been immersed in this, and I want to just encourage you as you're going through this to reach out and talk with them, meet with them, ask questions. There isn't a dumb question. I promise you, if you feel like it's a dumb question, you could call and ask me, text me, and I'll help you out.
Thank you. And Councilor Surratt.
Thank you. So do counselors still have budget buddies?
Well, you have your council buddies, yeah, but you're gonna have to hurry.
Renee was mine.
I know. Well, she still is for like 2 more days, so fit it in.
It's not very practical.
Yeah,
no,
I'll be your buddy.
I'm not worried, but okay, great. I'll take it. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have our next meeting, as I said, on May 11th, followed by meetings on the 18th. And yes, the 25th is the Wednesday. And that's how we'll work through our budget cycle this year. That meeting on the 25th is intended for our deliberation and recommendations. But for now, you have a little bit of time to consider everything we've heard today, go back through the document, check for whatever questions you have, and then always email staff with any questions that you come up with in between now and then. They're happy to answer. If you have the question, someone else probably does too. It's very helpful when we get those emails with questions other people asked that we didn't think of. So please ask every question you have so that all of us can benefit, and staff I know is ready and willing and eager to answer all of that for us. Until then, I'll see you all in 2 weeks, and at 7:23 p.m. this meeting is adjourned. Have a great night.